Hello everyone, Manithral here, and welcome to the weekly update video for OSRS. Now, first up, we have a clue scroll changes proposal. Um, Honestly, I'm not sure if this is actually what they're going to be doing, but they tried to make this all reflects around clue scrolls and the trailblazer, so it does not affect the main game at all. But they said they want to make sure that this is, the Trailblazers is actually fun, as many possible ways as possible. And they want clue scrolls to be able to be completed regardless of the relic. Now, I will say I have the relic that actually helps me do clue scrolls with it being the lowest possible amount as is. And I still have a hard time doing them all because there's a lot of them that are in other areas. So, like, for instance, I did not get the desert. So every single time Al-Kharid pops up, I have to throw it away. I did not get the Ardone-ish area. So every single time something like that comes up, throw it away. So there's these issues that keep coming up from that. And I'm sure it's across the board, and then there's a lot of people who are frustrated with it just because, well, you don't have that perk, that relic, to actually help shorten it up. So there's a much greater chance of getting kind of screwed over. But it is currently possible to get clue scroll steps, like I just said, that you can't do. And actually, it's a very good chance you will get one that you can't do. So they're proposing changing clue scrolls so they're completable in areas you've unlocked. So this would mean clue scrolls will only give steps that are completable in the regions you've unlocked, and clue scrolls will be limited to a much smaller list of clues and riddles to solve compared to main game. And that is awfully loud. Turn that down a little bit. And clue scrolls and riddles will still be randomized, but it is highly likely you'll be repeating the same ones when completing multiple clue scrolls. So that, it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, it does kind of take away. But, they got to be able to have it so you can complete clue scrolls with this, because some of the, points do revolve around that. What is your guys' opinion on it personally? Like, what do you guys actually think about it? Me personally, as of right now, I've only ever done the beginner, easy, and medium clue scrolls. I have not touched the hard or beyond. But so far, I kind of like how it is because, well, it makes them harder to do, and it makes it harder to actually get to that next step. Just like drops, you're not guaranteed to get, a Brine Saber or a Dragon Scimitar or an Abyssal Whip within the same time frame as somebody else. So, in a way, I kind of like how this is, but it currently is. But I can understand this approach as well. But let me know what you guys think, what you guys personally think should happen. But now as for the main chunk of today's update is the Nightmare and Chambers of Xeric quality of life. First up is the Nightmare. So, Gilroy's scariest boss has been updated this week, and for the vote changes we have voted for. So, to kick things off, the Nightmare's initial start timer has been reduced from 40 seconds to 30 seconds. If you're brave enough to fight her more than once in a row, you'll need to use the Stirp option to wake her from her slumber, which will start a 10-second cooldown. So, you'll notice some changes to the one key parts of the Nightmare fight itself from today. When fighting her in groups of 6 or more, 200 will be added to her shield, and 30 will be added to her totems, down from 460 respectively, all of which should make the fight more exciting. In addition, you can now use prayers to fully negate the damage from the Nightmare's husk and parasites. The good news is for treasure seekers, firstly, the cost of the Eldritch Step special attack has been reduced from 75% to 55%. And secondly, your chance of getting your own little nightmare pet has been rescaled depending upon the size of your group. Here's the new chances. 1 person is 1 in 800, 2 is 1 in 1600, 3 is 1 in 2400, 4 is 3200, 5 and more is at 4000. Lastly, they resolved the audio bug, which is making the sound effect played when the nightmare confusion curse ended too quiet. They resolved this issue where the nightmare would sometimes appear to be facing away from the player who took damage, but she was retargeting the player with the highest defense halfway through her attack. So, that is that. Now we have Chambers of Xeric. Meanwhile, across the pond, Chambers of Xeric has also undergone a few renovations. So they updated the map pools. So map pools in the large pool now unify and contain 5 combat and 3 puzzle rooms per raid. The regular pool now has equal amounts of small and medium raids. To complement this change, a secondary checkbox has been added to the party board outside the Chambers of Xeric. That lets you toggle between regular and large map pools. Now, onto everyone's favorite little dudes, the scavengers. From today, scavengers will spawn more consistently, with a preference for location near players. This should make them easier to catch, which in turn will make this room a little less frustrating. In addition, when killing a scavenger, a message will appear that will make it clear who will receive the drop. If an iron player deals the most, but not all the damage to the Chambers of Xeric boss, all other raiders will receive a message announcing that they have earned the drop. This message will override any chat filters you have enabled, so don't worry about missing it. Keep in mind, more Pole 73 is coming. There is some League 2 Trailblazer hot fixes. So they received a number of reports regarding the Ice Barrage casting faster than intended with the double cast relic. Upon further investigation, they have identified and resolved the bug that was causing Ice Barrage to cast faster with certain weapons, specifically Airheim Staff. This bug meant that in almost all PvM scenarios, using Ice Barrage with Airheim Staff was the best possible damage output achievable. That seems a bit extreme. Much like the Bind Spell's accuracy bug, they considered making no changes at all, leaving this as an additional perk to the double cast relic. If Ice Barrage was unintentionally faster for all weapons within the game, then it's likely they would have kept this behavior during the leak. Ultimately, they decided that leaving this bug in would be an unfair advantage that planned their route based on optimizing their single target damage with items such as the Singuistan Staff, something you'd expect to perform better than an area of effect with much lower requirement. Ice Barrage will still remain 100% accurate with the correct gear, making it a very strong option throughout the entirety of the league, but there will be certain encounters where the other equipment setups are more viable. Changes added within this week's update to update launch. The crystal memories will now only ask you to confirm teleporting into darkness areas which are dangerous instead of all dark areas. Thurgle now appears in the Temple of Light outside of the Death Altar. Players can now reclaim a free Impling jar from the League Tutor once per day. All remaining Sherlock, Fallow, Cecilia, and Zaya clues have been removed. If you encountered one they've missed, let them know. The task to build a U or magic birdhouse has been clarified. They now tell you to set up a birdhouse. More items have been added to the shop auto restock, including Manithral plate bodies, black plate bodies, helmet sold in Barbarian Village, swamp paste, nature runes, bucket of slimes. The botanist relic will now correctly save secondary ingredients when making the following potions: stamina potion, sandfuse serum, antidote plus, super combat potion, anti-venoms, Weapon Poison ++ Extended Super Anti-Fire. The task to equip Trimmed Amulet of Glory will now complete when equipping the charged version. The Crystal of Memories will no longer erroneously tell you that it saved your location when you use it to return to where you came from. The task Kill Vorkoth 5 times in a row without special damage is now completable. The Create a Combat Potion Desert task can now be completed anywhere in the area instead of a place where the player is affected by desert heat. Loot broadcasts from private God Wars dungeon instances will now correctly broadcast into their instance instead of having of the non-instance boss room. Endless Harvest will now work correctly when mining salt and basalt on the way salt mine. Stringing Jewelry with String Jewelry spell will now complete the relevant League and Achievement Diary tasks. Quick Shot will now save charges used on Crossbow. Double Cast will now save charges used on the Slayer Staff E. The description for of the Double Cast relic has been updated to state that Binding and Ice spells have 100% accuracy against creatures. The effect will be activated if the player has 60+ magic attack accuracy in their equipment screen, and the player has +20 magic attack accuracy in their equipment screen, and they're wearing full Void Knight mage gear or full Elite Void Knight mage gear. So elite or regular. Time challenge tasks in the Hallowed should now be completable if you're up to it. Hell Puppy Pets were incorrectly left uninsured and then lost will now be reinsured. If you have it in your collection log and open the task interface, you can now reclaim your puppy from the League's tutor. Equipping an uncharged Broodoo Shield will now correctly complete a equip the matching Broodoo Shield task. The task to kill God Wars General X times now specifically states that you must kill the same general. The following tasks, which all require Mistalin and one other region, will now be listed as other heading into the task interface. Defeat a Rune Dragon, Fremennik. Equip a Dragon Crossbow, Fremennik. Equip a Dorgishan Crossbow, Asgarnia. Complete the Lost Tribe, Asgarnia. Complete Death to Dorgishan, Asgarnia. Steal a Diamond in Dorgishkan, Asgarnia. Pickpocket a Bullseye Lantern from a Cave Goblin, Asgarnia. So, the thresholds for each ring of the Trailblazer Lakes as of the time of this update is Dragon, 25,240, Rune is 18,310, Adamant 8,990, Mithral's 4,480, Steel is 1730, Iron is 530, and Bronze is 100. Don't forget to check out the merch store. They got a bunch of cool stuff, including the PK shirt, as you can see there, or PK jacket, the varsity style jacket, which actually looks pretty cool, if you ask me. Don't forget the Golden Gnomes is actually coming up on Friday, November 20th at 1900 game time, so try to make it if you can. In other news, the Halloween event has been removed from the game as it is over. Rick's head has returned and he's gone back to studying magic. Any candy you receive from the magical pumpkin in your player house is now bankable. Players can no longer be dragged randomly if they spam click a fishing spot before it moves. Random events prevention now works in the God Wars dungeon. They've switched up in which God Sword shards are checked when smithing, so the engine will aim to get you the full blade instead of half blades. The Amulet of Avarice now works within the Wilderness Slayer Cave. When starting a new quest, message will now appear in the chat box to tell you which quest you started. Similarly, the message given upon finishing the quest now specifies which quest was just completed. So that's actually it for this week, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, later, guys.